whipped gendarmes, threw royal diamonds into the fireplace, and forced a king to abdicate his throne. Men fell in love with her at first sight and practically signed their own death warrants. Some went mad, others shot themselves, and some drowned their sorrows in alcohol. She wanted only one thing: for all of them to sign over their fortunes in their wills before they died. Her name was Lola Montez, a hurricane of a woman who took everything she wanted from life, yet drew her last breath in a pauper's room. Who was she really, and why did loving her prove fatal? Let's find out. Let's start with the biggest secret. The Spanish noblewoman Lola Montez never actually existed. The name was a total fabrication. In reality, she was born Eliza Gilbert in 1819, deep in the Irish countryside. Her mother ran away with an officer at just 15, and Elizabeth repeated the exact same stunt at 16. Her groom was a young lieutenant named Thomas James, who swept her away to India. To the British of that era, India seemed like a golden El Dorado, but for Elizabeth's husband, it became a nightmare. While he chased bandits through the suffocating heat, his young wife was busy bedding the local elite. Cross-stitching was far too boring for her. Elizabeth was captivated by the exotic. She secretly took lessons from Indian temple dancers, mastering their most provocative and hypnotic movements. When her husband discovered her latest lover and filed for divorce, Elizabeth didn't bat an eye. She fled to Spain to pull off the ultimate scam of her life.
She studied under an old gypsy woman in Seville. It was there that Eliza Gilbert died, and in her place, Lola Montez was born, a fierce, hot-blooded Spanish dancer. In 1843, she burst onto the stage of the Her Majesty's Theatre in London. It was an absolute shock to Victorian England. Lola danced in translucent dresses, bared her shoulders, and moved with such scandalous abandon that rumors quickly flooded the city. That Spanish girl is performing completely naked. However, during one of her shows, disaster struck. Someone in the audience shouted, "That's Betty James. She's no Spaniard." Scandal! The hoax was exposed. But Lola was unstoppable. She boldly wrote in her diary, "I must hook a prince," and set off for Germany.
Europe trembled in her wake. She was expelled from Berlin for whipping a Prussian gendarme during a royal military parade. She was deported from St. Petersburg for outraging public decency after ripping off her garter and tossing it into the audience mid-dance. In Dresden, the great composer Franz Liszt fell helplessly under his spell, but their passionate affair burned out quickly. Liszt grew terrified of her volcanic temperament, complaining to friends that Lola simply wouldn't let him sleep or compose music. Next came Paris. There, Lola targeted the most influential critic in the capital, Alexandre Dujarier. She staged a chance encounter during his morning horse ride. A dramatic fall from her saddle, a flash of a slender leg beneath her wind-blown skirt. The critic was utterly smitten and proposed. But behind his back, Lola was juggling other wealthy suitors.
Only when I am with you.
When a colleague tried to open Dujarrier's eyes, a fierce argument broke out. The result? A duel. The infatuated Dujarrier was shot dead, leaving Lola a portion of his fortune. Paris newspapers openly branded her the cursed Spaniard. Once again, she had to run. In 1846, Lola arrived in Munich. Denied the right to perform, she took matters into her own hands and sneaked into the palace of King Ludwig I of Bavaria. The stunned monarch walked into his private chambers,
only to find a breathtaking woman in a low-cut dress rolling on the floor, locked in a fistfight with his royal butler. To conclusively prove that her body was worthy of the stage, Lola grabbed a silver letter opener and sliced open her own corset right before his eyes. The 60-year-old king completely lost his mind. He wrote to a close friend, "I am like a waking Vesuvius. My blood boils feverishly within me, like that of a 20-year-old youth." Lola got everything she demanded. Her own private palace, a stable of horses, mountains of diamonds, and the title of Countess of Landsfeld. She became the shadow ruler of Bavaria. She demanded that government ministers pay court to her salon, and those who refused were instantly fired. Lola marched through the streets of Munich dressed in men's clothes, a cigarette between her lips, wielding a riding crop that she used to lash citizens without a second thought. Finally, the public's patience snapped. In 1848, thousands of furious citizens surrounded her palace. Riots erupted in the streets, and stones rained down on Lola. To save his mistress from a lynching and quell the revolution, King Ludwig I did the unthinkable. He banished Lola from the country and abdicated his throne. Just like that, a single dancer managed to bring down an entire kingdom. With Europe closed off to her, Lola had nowhere left to turn. The former king kept sending her chunks of his retirement pension, but it was never enough. She resorted to outright blackmail, threatening to publish his intimate love letters. Fun fact, Arthur Conan Doyle later borrowed this exact premise for his very first Sherlock Holmes short story, A Scandal in Bohemia, basing the character of Irene Adler entirely on Lola. Realizing the royal well had run dry, Lola set sail to conquer America and Australia. She performed for rough, lonely gold miners, debuting her infamous spider dance, an erotic spectacle where she frantically pretended that bugs had crawled up her skirt. Men lost their senses over her, and they kept dying. Her next husband, a young journalist, spiraled into deep depression after their divorce, drank heavily, and died at just 29. Her next lover, a wealthy gold digger, went bankrupt and put a bullet through his head. Even the actor who protected her on tour with a revolver drowned in a tragic shipwreck on the journey back. Lola was a true black widow. Anyone who touched her was doomed. But even this human hurricane couldn't rage forever. By the time she approached 40, Lola was entirely alone. Her money had vanished, her legendary beauty had faded. She quietly settled in an impoverished district of New York with an ominous name, Hell's Kitchen. On Christmas Day in 1861, wrapping a thin coat tightly around herself, she walked alone to church. The former countess and favorite of kings now harbored just one deep regret, that there was no loved one by her side, no children's laughter echoing through her home. A month later, the legendary Lola Montez died of pneumonia in absolute poverty. On her modest headstone, they carved her real name, Eliza Gilbert. She wanted to take everything from life, and she did. But the price tag was simply too high. Folks, if you enjoyed this story, please drop a like on this video. It immensely helps the channel grow and allows others to discover these wild historical tales. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming episodes. Let me know in the comments below, who is Lola Montez to you? A tragic victim of circumstance? A cold, calculating opportunist? Or a powerful woman born far ahead of her time? I'm incredibly eager to read your thoughts. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. And remember,
Guard your hearts against dangerous passions.